While you're searching for the perfect accountant is searching for the ideal client. Welcome everyone, my name is Keith and this is The Wealthy Accountant. This channel is about cutting your taxes, increasing your net worth, early retirement, and financial independence. Let's get started. Over the last several years, I have published several articles on finding the right tax professional. Links in the description below, you should read them. What most people forget is that while they are interviewing the accountant is interviewing them to see if they are the kind of client they want to work with. There are characteristics the ideal client possesses. There are also telltale signs the person sitting across from you is the client from hell. Let's start with the ideal client from the accountant's viewpoint. The ideal client will provide requested documents and engage with the accountant when the accountant asks questions. Documents and paperwork will be in order. My fee is a consideration, but only after comparing that fee with the value provided. The ideal client considers the accountant a valuable service. And of course, the accountant wants to be paid on time. The ideal accountant will say something like this: Keith, my current accountant is retiring. We got along fine and he helped me for the past 18 years. He gave me ideas to save on taxes and he was good to work with. I hope you can pick up where he left off. Now we turn to the client from hell. It may seem counterintuitive, but the traits to be mentioned are what the accountant is looking to avoid like the plague. Most accountants understand clients may not be professionals when it comes to paperwork and are willing to cut some slack when it comes to organization. As accountants, we feel we can train our clients to organize their paperwork in a way that makes our job easier while increasing the wealth of our client. If you had 4 different accountants in the past 7 years, it is a huge red flag from this country accountant. I want a long-term relationship with my clients. I know that the first year is a getting to know you year. The second year I can add to the first year's foundations. Each year I can up the value I provide as I continue to understand your situation better and better. Accountant hopping negates any possibility this can happen. Don't confuse this with looking for an accountant for a special situation where you just need help in your taxes for 1 year. We understand your tax return is simple and you can do it yourself most years. We understand unique situations require a tax pro from time to time. Accountants are okay with helping out in such situations as long as you work with us to prepare an accurate tax return. We will also bust butt to make sure your taxes are optimized for the lowest tax legally for the year we serve you. Another red flag is being fired by your last accountant. None of the things I mention are an absolute deal breaker, but they do work against you. Accountants don't let go of clients unless they are retiring, and then all the clients are going. If your accountant is letting you go with the excuse they are cutting back or any other reason, they are firing you politely. That is the cold hard truth. The clients let go are the problems. Either payment is slow, paperwork is a mess, or the client is difficult to work with, or it is a very low profit client. Remember, the accountant kept most of her clients, except for you and maybe a few others. You have to ask why you didn't make the cut. Good, experienced accountants are busy. They don't need more clients. They only wish to work with ideal clients. If something is off, they take a pass. Newer accountants many times are looking to fill their book. They have time for new clients. If you are looking for a good accountant, you need to avoid the accountant that will take you on without any prior interview or at the drop of a hat. This is not the hallmark of a quality professional. The worst thing you can do is start off with my fee. I get these emails and calls all the time. I try to give a high enough fee to scare the inquirer away without seeming obnoxious. Price is important, but not the starting point. Quality service is. If you care nothing for nor value my professionalism, experience, and hard work to save you money, I take a pass. Life is too short for that kind of thing. Compare this to restaurants. If you called every restaurant in town to find the cheapest price without concern for quality, you are saying, in short, you want to eat roadkill as long as it is cheap. And there are restaurants in business to serve you such fare. And the accountant and tax landscape, I am not one of those. And you should be more distinguishing as well. As fast as roadkill can make you sick, the same can be said for any accountant offering similar fare in the financial arena. Good accountants make you money. That is why my fee is the last thing discussed, not the first. This is a profit generator, not a cost. A few examples before we sign off. Two clients come. The first client was fired by his accountant. The old "we are cutting back" excuse was used. I knew of the firm he was leaving and knew they were not cutting back. I had a weak moment and learned my lesson because the potential client was a professional himself, a chiropractor. On all other counts, he appeared okay. But getting fired by your accountant is always a warning sign. We soon discovered why they were cutting back by one. This client soon made it clear he didn't want to work with my staff. He wanted to work with me and me only, even for mundane issues like setting an appointment. He also made it a habit of calling only during lunch and right at closing, and then doing his best to take as much time as possible. I learned fast not to answer the phone 5 minutes after closing if I wanted to get home before the wife and kids went to bed. One day it came to a head. He called a few minutes after closing and I answered as I was about to walk out the door. He started with his list and I cut him short and said I have a personal appointment. Of course he had an attitude. The next morning we started the separation process. Now he has another red flag, fired by two accountants within 2 years and accountant hopping. The second client came about due to a new program in my office we instituted several decades ago when I wanted to add more businesses to my client list. I was a younger man, so forgive me for the weakness. In this case, the client was in an environmental business. I have a keen interest for that sort of thing, so I lowered my standards. Remember, I was a younger man at the time. I visited the client and was impressed. His paperwork was really bad. I mean, really bad. I understand messy paperwork or not wanting to deal with it, but this went beyond reasonable. When it came time to prepare his tax return, his paperwork was so bad, with so much missing material, I had to invoke the Cohan Rule for a few items. You can see a link in the description below on the Cohan Rule and how it works. He dropped an accordion folder off the front desk of my office, and when I called him for more information, he said it was all in there and that I must have lost his receipts. I dropped the client on the spot. Then he became accommodating. He said he would pay anything if I just did his work. He couldn't provide proper receipts because he never kept them and refused to get copies from vendors. Then he started calling my employees and asking if they would moonlight to do his tax work. They all ran for cover. 2 years later, he was still harassing employees to see if anyone would do his work. Not a single tax office in town would touch him. Lesson learned. I should have taken a pass and haven't these types of people ever since. Finding a good accountant takes work. Accountants want good clients and don't have time for games. Avoid the red flags or have a good answer for the red flags. If you were a bad client in the past, fess up and let the prospective accountant know that you want to move forward doing a better job, that you want to be a good client going forward, and you want to work with a good and experienced accountant. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to like and subscribe. Share any of your experiences and ideas in the comments. Thank you for stopping by. This is the Wealthy Accountant signing out, and remember, if you get a letter from the IRS, open it. It will not fix itself.